Welcome to Equip, Build, Mature. It's a beautiful day here on Crete. Today I want to share a word of encouragement with you. We'll be coming out of John chapter 3. We're continuing to look at the necessity of following Jesus and no other. And said John chapter 3, it's verses 22 to 36 where we'll get our ideas here today. So we're to pursue Jesus and no other. John the Baptizer responded to his followers who thought that Jesus was the competition. We see this in chapter 3, verses 27 to 31. And this is how the text reads. John responded, "No one can receive a single thing unless it's given to him from heaven. You yourselves can testify that I said, I'm not the Messiah, but I have been sent ahead of him. He who has the bride is the groom, but the groom's friend, who stands by and listens for him, rejoices greatly at the groom's voice. So this joy of mine is complete. He must increase, and I must decrease. The one who comes from above is above all, and the one who is from the earth is earthly, and speaks in earthly terms. The one who comes from heaven is above all. The one who believes in the Son has eternal life. But the one who refuses to believe in the Son will not see life. Instead, the wrath of God remains on him." So in verse 28 of John chapter 3, all along, John had clearly stated that he was not the Messiah. His purpose was to prepare people's hearts for when the Messiah arrived. So John is not going to run off his followers. He continued to teach them until they understood and chose to shift their allegiance to Jesus. Then in verse 29, John says very clearly, Jesus is the groom. John is the groom's friend. And John rejoiced when he heard Jesus' voice. This joy of mine is complete. So John knew that God's promised Messiah had finally arrived. In verse 30 of chapter 3, still in the Gospel of John, John used a wedding analogy. As a friend of the groom, he was preparing everything for his friend. He organized the chairs, he made sure the sound system was working, he set up the candles, he hung the greenery, and he greeted the people. But as soon as he heard the groom's voice, he rejoiced. The friend's purpose was to get things ready. When the groom arrived, it would not at all be appropriate for the friend to take the spotlight. When the groom arrived, the friend stepped back to the background. The wedding day is about the groom and the bride, not the friend. The groom was the most important. The friend was less important. John understood that he existed to point people to the groom, to Jesus. You and I today, as covenant redeemed disciples of Jesus, we have so much in common with John the Baptizer. We exist as friends and followers of Jesus, to know him and to make him known. We've been born again, recreated by God, to use our lives to point people to Jesus. The plan from the beginning was that everything John did was to prepare people's hearts and souls to point them so that they could see Jesus. John's greatest joy was realizing that God used each moment of his life to prepare hearts for Jesus. So, like John, you and I are to humbly serve our gracious Master. John knew that he knew who he was, and John knew who he was not. And he was okay with that. He knew he was not God's Messiah. He was simply a voice for God. He was part of the solution, not part of the problem. Our life is a continuous turning away from something to turn to Jesus. You and I must be willing to give up anything so that Jesus can be our true master and our only master. We see this in chapter 3, verse 30. I must increase his rule and decrease my control in my life. Jesus agreed. Deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow him. Human culture teaches that significance, value, and meaning are based on what we can make of ourselves. But I cannot follow Jesus as my Lord and Master until I surrender my control of my life to him. Jesus' will must become more important than my will. Okay? Jesus' will must become more important than my will. Our spoiled, crybaby, self-indulgent flesh is obsessed with getting more and more and more. We're never content. We're never satisfied because the flesh will never be satisfied. See, our fear is that if we decrease, we will lose our value, we'll lose our identity, we'll lose our security, we'll lose our hard-earned position. And there's so many voices that offer to be our master. The loudest voice demanding dominance is self. See, at our covenant immersion, we should have died to ourselves. We should have died to listening to and following the flesh. We pledged our total allegiance to Jesus, not our flesh, as our master. So this life never has been, but as a covenant disciple of Jesus, this life is no longer about me. Today is not about me. This life, today, each day, should be always only about him, Jesus. Today is all about him. It's all about him. None is about me. And John disagreed with those that tried to make it all about him. His followers told him it was all about him. They wanted to promote John. They wanted to get the attention back on John. They wanted to get his followers back. They thought John deserved it. They thought John had earned it. He had overcome so much to be where he was. Well, we love it if people tell us, oh, you deserve more. But John totally disagreed. He was the servant behind the scenes. Everything he did was to make certain everyone heard Jesus' voice and followed only Jesus as their Lord and Master. Chapter 3, verse 31 of the Gospel of John says, there's no comparison, none between Jesus and me. He's from heaven, he is above all. I'm from the earth, I'm to be the least. 3:36 says that my decision about Jesus is a matter of life and death. Today, I strongly encourage you, make certain that you are following only Jesus as your Lord and Master, and nothing else and no one else. Hope you have a great day, guys. Thanks for spending a few moments here. Lord willing, see you on the next one. Take care.